The big ETF where everybody in America is waiting for, honestly, I do not get the point why they are waiting for it. The Europeans are using since 2015 and the Americans are still fighting. Should we use it? Is it allowed? Can we list it? Come on.
Välkomna!
Tackar. Johanna.
Hello, Marco.
This is Marco, works with me.
Hi.
If I would have known that, I would have taken on my Bitcoin socks, of course. So like this, I only have my Bitcoin logo with it, just to feel a little bit apart from the normal financial world where you usually wear this. Back in the early days, products like ours were not available. So people did not find an easy and trustful way to invest into Bitcoin. Now it is just type in an ISIN and you have Bitcoin the same way in your portfolio like gold or a Facebook share. And there's no hassle with losing keys.
Feels good.
Good. You look like the first lady here.
Exactly. With answer. A huge welcome to Johanna and Marco from Valour. Is that correctly pronounced?
Actually, everyone pronounces it differently, but I say Valour. Some people say Valour.
But it's not velour. It's not the velvet material that ABBA wore in the 70s. Has something to do with value.
And it's the English word for bravery.
Is it? So I thought it had to do with value.
It's definitely this story from our founder, the final knight that is coming into the game and changing it for the good. So this is this Valour, the German Tapferkeit of surviving in that difficult area.
So it's Tapferkeit.
That's it.
This is not a paid video or promotion. It's not a recommendation or endorsement, and nothing of value has changed hands.
Hold on a second. We do not get anything for that, Johanna?
No.
We'll see about that. What is it?
So the idea is to bring a difficult asset class to regular people or investors who want to be able to access Bitcoin, Ethereum, or alternative coins, but to put them in their portfolio.
I'm actually using your competitor product, the XBT provider CoinShares certificates. And I'm actually very interested to learn more about your offering because you do offer a range of coins and opportunities, which CoinShares does not do.
The big coins, Bitcoin and Ethereum, what our unique selling point is here is that they are free of charge. So if you hold them over a longer period of time, you do not pay the management fee, and that's big. I mean, if you want to hold for a long time, and if you have bigger amounts invested, it can add up quite a lot. So that's one thing. So you pay, for example, brokerage fees and spread as per usual, but holding the product doesn't cost anything. And then we have a selection of alternative coins as well. So for example, you can access Solana, which is very, very popular product. We have Polkadot, we have Uniswap, and we also have a basket solution so that you can buy one product but get exposure to many digital assets.
You in a kind using our competitive product, but basically you're using our DNA. Because what a lot of people do not know is that exactly that product, the first Bitcoin product ever in worldwide and in Europe brought to the exchange here in Sweden was XBT, the product that you are using at the moment. But our founder was the founder during that time at XBT. So in a way, you are using our DNA because our founder then founded, after selling XBT to CoinShares, Valour.
Oh, wow.
And just replicated what he has done in 2015 already, bridging the gap between Bitcoin or digital assets in general to traditional portfolios.
Oh, that's amazing. I did not know that. So this is very close to being an ETF. Today, everyone is talking about ETF. Is the ETF coming? Yes, no in the US and so on. But actually, we've had an exchange-traded product in Sweden since 2015. What is the difference?
It is technically an exchange-traded product. Yeah. It is a product that is on an exchange and it is traded there. And ETP is the definition for the family of the three underlying products lines like exchange traded fund, ETF, exchange traded note, ETN, exchange traded commodity, ETC.
So
Nothing
what is
else.
the difference?
What is in it? It's the definition is called like this. At an ETC, a commodity is the underlying. For example, oil or gold or things like that. An ETN is a note, so where two counterparts are making a contract, and then that contract is going to be sold. In that contract, technically everything can be in it. I would say our product is in that substance an ETN or an ETC, depending if you see Bitcoin as something like a commodity or something like a traded note between us. Yeah. Now comes the big ETF, where everybody in America is waiting for. And honestly, I do not get the point why they are waiting for it. Imagine we here in Europe are using iPhone 9, while the US guys are still waiting for the release of iPhone 1.
Right.
So the first time ever in history, the Americans are behind. And not a little bit behind, they are far, far, far behind.
Yeah.
Imagine what you have had in your hand with iPhone 1 and the other guy having at the same time iPhone 9. So the 8 years difference in time. This is what we see here.
Yeah.
The Europeans are using since 2015 registered products in order to be engaged in digital assets, and the Americans are still fighting. Should we use it? Is it allowed? Can we list it?
Yeah.
Come on.
And there are then multiple advantages with it. One advantage is that you don't have the problem to move the money from the traditional financial system into the crypto system, which at least for many people have been a problem. Banks don't like it and so on. This is something that the banks typically like. But maybe the bigger advantage is that there are favorable tax constructions in many countries, including Sweden. Here we have something called investment saving account, and there are capital insurances and so on, which are tax advantaged versus holding the physical crypto. Do you see that's the reason why many people are interested in this?
For sure, this is one of the things. I mean, I saw your video where you did the calculation, and it's huge differences. And the other thing is, for a person who maybe not be quite as far down the rabbit hole as you are in crypto, is an easy way to add it to your portfolio. So it's also the simplicity of logging into your account, buy it, it's here, no hassle, no wallet.
Banks like it nowadays because the money stays in the system. And this is extremely dramatic when you are following the volumes that are now going to be traded on a daily basis in digital assets. So meaning in Bitcoin and Ethereum and all that stuff. When it was, let's say, a small cake, around about 500 billions, which is nothing else than 20% of the Apple share. Yeah.
Right.
So imagine only one famous company, 20% of those shares was the entire market in the tiny days. Even now, when we do not speak about, let's say, crypto winter anymore, when we see prices of 35K, which represents over 100% on a yearly basis, even now we have a market capitalization of 1.33 trillion, which is, let's say, half of the Apple share. So still we are far, far away of being called a typical asset class like gold or oil or anything close to the S&P 500.
Yeah.
Tiny, tiny.
Disadvantages then. What do you think people are seeing as disadvantage of these products versus holding the underlying assets? So going and buy Polkadot or whatever the asset is. I rephrase. What do you think people see as risks?
Well, there are several types of risks, of course, with both ways of investing, right? So we have, for example, if you invest directly, you have to manage your keys. For us, a big part, and I think this is where you're coming at, is counterparty risk and what happens behind the scenes when you actually buy the certificates.
Exactly. So what happens if I buy a certificate in Polkadot, for example? What do you do on the other side?
We buy Polkadot.
You buy Polkadot.
Yes.
So you actually buy the underlying assets. You don't have some other hedge construction or something like that. You buy the spot coin.
Yes.
Correctly.
Then where do you hold it?
So we have several leading custodians where we have our holdings. So we have also spread that risk into several, because it's difficult to get away from a counterparty risk in whatever way it is, right? So we are also spreading our risk. So we have several custodians.
To name two of them, it's Copper, famous company that is in the storage space of digital assets, based in the UK but spread all over the world, and Komaino, that is the leading counterpart in the Asian region.
So owned by Nomura, I think.
Owned by Nomura.
Have you had any exposure to any of the exchanges that went bankrupt, like FTX or any of the others?
Nothing of importance.
No.
Phew. That's good. Yeah.
To answer your question, I think your question of disadvantages is a very valid one, because we have to see where digital assets are coming from.
Yeah.
It was all the time this discussion of excluding the middleman,
Yes.
so that the two of us can do a contract or fulfill anything directly without having a bank or somebody else we need to trust on. So it was the idea behind Bitcoin back in 2008 on the 31st of October. So remember, in less than a week time, we have the 15th birthday already of Bitcoin. Yeah.
Right.
So the disadvantage, of course, then is when you invest in our product, this idea of not having the middleman is backfilled included.
Yeah.
And out of a sudden we have a bank again.
Yeah.
And we are out of that native narrow, not your keys, not your coins. Yeah? So, but on the flip side, I would say in countries where we are living it, so for me, for example, in Switzerland, you here in Sweden, in general, you should not invest all your eggs in the same asset class. So we recommend normally something like up to 5%.
Yeah.
So now take that number. 5% is at home or on your ledger, while 95% is still at the bank.
Yeah.
So why should you pay attention at 5% yourself? While the majority is at your bank account anyway. If you want to see a disadvantage, I would call that a disadvantage.
I would say that there is another big advantage, which maybe is not important to everyone, but it is important to me. It's like the wrench attack. Basically, someone goes and tries to physically attack you to try to get you to send your Bitcoin from your ledger out somewhere. And sadly, that has happened. That's one of the things that you actually do protect yourself against with an exchange traded product, because then the money is at the bank. I couldn't send it to anyone even if I wanted to. So when you say that there are no fees, that are then basically the Bitcoin Zero and the Ethereum Zero products. Is that correct? Yeah. And then you have Cardano, Polkadot, Solana, Uniswap Uni, Avalanche, Cosmos, Engine, BNB.
So now you're looking at our complete range. So some of these are accessible in Sweden and some on etc., for example.
What countries do you serve with your current offering?
All of the products that you're mentioning right now are not available to all of the markets, because we are covering today the Nordic countries, the Germany, Austria, Switzerland, France, Netherlands and Belgium. I think that should be it.
Perfect, nothing to add.
Perfect. But we're listed then, so how it works is that you are listed on an exchange. Here in Sweden, we have the NGM marketplace. In Germany, for example, we are listed on etc.
Correct.
Etc. It's difficult with the German pronunciation. Yeah. And then on Euronext for access to these markets. So some of them are available to our Nordic investors, and they may be tailored towards the Nordic countries because of they can be tax regulations or whatever. In Germany, for example, we have a different setup because it fits better for the German investors. So
right. Do you have plans to expand to other countries if someone is watching here and they're not from one of these countries?
Plans are there in the pipeline, obviously depending on the market and the demand and the status where we are in cryptos. So, but for sure, let's say looking outside of Europe is definitely an option.
I can imagine.
Should we maybe add as well that recently we have added the majority of our most traded products as well in euro denomination in order to hedge away the risk. So when somebody from Sweden obviously invests in Swedish krona, yes, Bitcoin price is going up, but he's holding it in Swedish krona that is going to be devalued versus the euro, for example.
Right.
So in order to mitigate that risk, if somebody wants to invest 100%, he or she is better off in going 50% in SEK and 50% in euro in order to find something like a natural hedge in between.
Right. us people living in these tiny countries, the currency fluctuations here versus US dollar has been insane.
It's also to cater for Finnish investors, for example, who have euro as their home currency.
Ngop here read your financial statement and it looks very good. You have the digital assets at fair value, which is then a certain amount. Here in this case here at December 2022, after the bear market, that was 78 million. And then you show that you have liabilities, ETP holders payable to the same amount. So this is basically what you are saying, that you do buy these assets that have a value to match the liabilities you have to the ETP holders. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
So at every point in time, the liabilities are matched 100% with the underlying coin. And this is as well important to know that, for example, we are not using Bitcoin or Ethereum in order to match Avalanche.
Right.
If we want to match Avalanche, we take the Avalanche coin and not another digital assets instead, because then you have the risk that you have to hedge on the digital asset side.
Exactly. I'm sure we're all following the FTX trial with Alameda Research. Are you doing anything like you're taking these coins and trading with them or something like that?
No, they are stored at our custodians.
Good. I knew that. I just.
Now it's important to point it out.
May I can get some water, please?
Oh yes. You can take it. Then we had actually only one trick question here, because we found staking in the annual report, and then I got a little bit worried. Are you taking the stored coins for staking, or does it have something to do with this Ethereum staking product?
That's a perfect question, because we have listened to our customers who wanted to have staked products. So we were one of the first, if not the first, issuer in staked Ethereum. In that product, the setup is like that the client in that product obviously has to pay management fee, but it is a giving and taking, because for sure we are compensating for that management fee. That's for sure. This product at the end is a zero product like the other one as well. Plus the customer has the potential to earn more depending what is the yield on the Ethereum chain at the moment. I guess we are at 4.5 or 5% at the moment. So this is already a valuable trade.
For the Nordic markets, we have not launched a staking product because we already have a zero fee product. And if you think about it, a zero fee product already has the absence of a management fee, which a staking product might have. So it's already a very efficient product.
So just to repeat, all these products are not available for all markets. This is a fairly new company. When were you founded?
2019 it was.
It's a new industry, a new company in this industry, but I am personally very interested in this because you have a wider range of possibilities. I use the price tracking certificates myself today.
What we do have that our competitors might not have is the alternative coins, so smaller and as a single underlying. And then we also have this basket product, which has, if you look at it a little bit more closely, what the composition is, there are other coins there that you might not be able to access otherwise. So if you look at, so this is then a basket solution with the top 10 by market capitalization. So you can see here, and you see the weighting, and there are other underlyings here that you cannot access yet in Sweden at least. And it's also interesting because you get a diversification within the crypto universe with one product. And I like that product.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. I actually did not know that. Okay, is there something that you feel that we haven't covered that's important?
Yes. Our biggest, greatest success we have celebrated with our new partner, Bitcoin Swiss. Bitcoin Swiss is one of the largest by AUM counterparts in Switzerland, and we have just signed an exclusive agreement with them where we are providing ETPs for Bitcoin Swiss, meaning Bitcoin Swiss is giving the idea, the underlying, and we are doing in a white label solution, issuing on their behalf the intelligence in terms of basket solutions. Like in a franchising system, we are giving small asset managers, family offices, banks the opportunity to be up and running in the digital asset space and label it directly for them. So, for example, we can take, please do not distribute it on a video, for example. Banken top 10 digital asset basket. Let's assume Banken so far does not have any experience, no knowledge, no team, no marketing, no market making or anything in digital assets. They partner up with us, and within, let's say, 6 to 9 weeks, they are up and running with a product that you can list, ready to be listed at NGM, Nasdaq, for example, or wherever they want to be active, called Banken Top 10 Digital Asset.
Oh, but this is so good. If you don't want to have it in the video, can you say it all again, but without using any term?
It was such in a flow.
It was so good. It was so good. You don't want in the video, so...
no, I think it's a good idea to not say.
Can you not beep it? And you make a Bitcoin sign on my mouse, a beep, beep, beep.
I can do that.
We are more or less a McDonald's in the industry. You would like to have your own burgers here? You partner up with us, we label it with your name, and you have a product out there.
Oh, wow. So CTO Bitcoins coming up.
Yeah.
Can you throw the 2 packages?
Oh, is it a t-shirt?
So I said before that nothing of value changed hands, but I will actually backtrack on that statement. Something of enormous value will change hands. It's priceless and cannot be measured in money. It also might solve one of your key problems. Here you go.
Perfect.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Some of you, if you know, you know. So it's also a socks product.
Hot socks! Cool!
Oh, it's amazing.
At a glance it says HODL, but if you look closely it actually says HODL Sucks. So it's HODL Sucks Socks. Because at least for altcoins, we try to teach that hodling can be a very risky strategy because the altcoins frequently drop much more than people imagine it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We should have get them at the beginning of the interview, no?
When you stand up, don't hit your head in the...
Thank
you so much.
And the socks.
Now you're going to another important meeting with another key player in the Swedish financial sector. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Stockholm is waiting. Bye-bye.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
very much.
Yeah.
Welcome to Switzerland.
Exactly.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Should I carry the socks?